Someone has...
Krishna Kshetra Maharaj.
Oh, please Maharaj, come up here. Join us here. Do not deprive us. No, that will be wonderful. We need some. The more the merrier, Maharaj. That cushion is...
Cushion's row. Cushion's row.
Yeah, cushion's row. What a wonderful surprise. I see you are in ecstasy. Can we do something? We can get a whole team on you. A few men on each side. All right. So you will be holding a retreat. Where's that, Mike? You'll be holding a retreat. I think I heard something.
Or else the retreat will be holding me.
I hope, in a pleasant way, in an embrace, not by the throat.
Yeah, we'll be at the new Govardhan Retreat Center, which have you seen?
Yeah. Fabulous.
Quite a nice facility, inspired by His Holiness Satchidananda Swami and His Grace Purijan Prabhu. So they've made this facility for Govardhan retreats. So I thought, the logical thing is that one should have a Govardhan retreat at the Govardhan Retreat Center. So that's the plan.
Nice. Very logical. On Jayadvaita Maharaj's enthusiasm, we are doing question and answers whenever we are gathering. And I guess, so you might get a few coming your way if you don't mind. Maybe the next one.
There he is.
There he is, the man in the green kurta. Yeah.
Do we have another microphone?
I don't know. Do we have another mic?
No, this one's...
Yeah.
This mic, I will give to Maharaj.
Okay, you give the new mic to Maharaj. It's
Maharaj. Oh, it's Abe.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was wondering, in the Bhagavatam it said after these different stories like Dhruva Maharaj and different stories in the Bhagavatam, it gives us all this credit to, if we hear this pastime 3 times or if we hear this pastime a certain number of times, we get a certain credit. And Prabhupada doesn't give many purports on that. So I'm wondering, should we do these things with the intention to get the credit that is there in the Bhagavatam, although Prabhupada never mentioned, he just said, just do the regular system, not extra. But the Bhagavatam seems to say, do extra and get this certain reward.
Microphone's almost ready for you.
Meanwhile, I can lend you mine. Can I? Maybe not. It doesn't want to. There's a wire. Yeah, I'm wired up. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, those statements are called, the technical term is phala shruti. Phala means fruit, and shruti means what is heard.
The mic has to be really close.
Okay. So, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it says, what is it? Janma yasya yatonvaya vitaratascha deshu abhyasa. Then what's the next verse? Dharma projita kaitavotra nirmatsaranam satam. The Bhagavatam is for those who are non-envious. And then in the third verse, Nigamakalpatarorgalitang balam shukamukad amrita dravasamvita pivata Bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. It's an invitation for the rasikas, those who are connoisseurs. You know the word connoisseur? It's a French word. It means one who has refined taste. In German, they say Feinschmecker. And now comes a little confession that I've just been with Vikram, here comes. Now I have two microphones.
That's good. I'm going to take one for you.
Hare Krishna. So now here's the true confession. We did a bit of scooter parikrama, and he insisted that we stop in Jatipur in order to experience Jatipur kachoris.
Now you're hungry. I wouldn't dare, Maharaj.
Oh. Jatipur kachori and jalebi. So I can say now I feel life begins in Jatipur. In any case, connoisseur, we're invited to be connoisseurs. And that's so nirmatsaranam satam. So you read that and you think, whoops, I guess this book's not for me because I'm not free from envy. So I won't read it. No, you read it, and by reading, by hearing, especially by hearing, then we become nirmatsara. And similarly, by hearing, we become rasika, we become connoisseurs. And then the palashruti, which says if you hear this, read this, then you'll get X, Y, and Z. You understand that those benefits are there. I don't need such benefits, but if it encourages others to read, that will help them to become nirmatsara and rasika. One of my godbrothers several years ago, here's another confession. It's confession time, folks, at Kusum Sarovar. This godbrother of mine was reading my astrological chart, and I never remember what anyone tells me about my astrological information. This just goes in and out. There's this planet and there's those stars, and life is coming to an end. That's basically what I understand.
That's what they told me.
Well, Hare Krishna.
Stick to the point.
But he said that it will be very good for you to read such and such section of the Bhagavatam. This will be especially good for you considering your chart. And then he told me, actually, this is what I tell everyone. Not necessarily this particular part of the Bhagavatam for everyone, but he was saying this is how he gets people to read the Bhagavatam, is saying, you know, if you read the story of Dhruva, for example, this will be very good for you. And oh, really? Where's this? Oh, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Really? Yes, Canto 4. Oh, okay. So in the Buddhist tradition, they speak about upaya. Upaya it can mean technique, it can mean a process, it can mean a means of doing something. But in the Buddhist tradition, it's especially used to give the sense of this is the level of understanding you have, and so that's the understanding you will get. There is a higher understanding, but you won't get it. So upaya, this is what you're going to get. So my understanding of such palashruti is it's like that. It's encouraging, inviting. Now I don't remember, is it the longest palashruti, I think, is for the Gajendra Moksha Leela, which says, it begins by saying, if you wake up having had bad dream, then you should recite this. But I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe at the end of that, you listen to this, you read this Leela, and this will lead you to love of God, to Krishna. I don't know if it says Krishna Prema, but so some of the Falashruti are also like that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Some further point?
No, it was well done. A rounded presentation. Next one is Jayadvaita Maharaj.
If you play back, if you listen to the tape later 3 times, then you'll attain.
Yeah. What to speak if you listen to it 16 times.
Blessed number.
Oh, the microphone is
Oh. No, go ahead. You have the mic.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I was reading about the origins of Sanskrit, and it was mentioning that it has some history in Arabic and Persian and Turkish, and I was under the impression that Sanskrit was the oldest language in the world and the Vedic culture was the oldest, and so now I'm not so sure. Would it be possible do you know a bit about what made up Vedic culture, what preceded it, and what other elements of other cultures kind of came together into Vedic culture and to Sanskrit?
well.
There you go.
Okay, maybe Krishna-ksetra Maharaj will help me out, but we'll start here. The Vedic culture, originally these things are coming from long back. They're coming from the higher planets. The script that we see for writing Sanskrit is called Devanagari. It means it's used in the cities of the demigods. So the history goes back far beyond where our lexicographers can go. So we take it for granted, and from Prabhupada's. Yeah, this is going on since no one can say. Even Bhagavad Gita, we're told 5,000 years. That's long before Arabic or any such languages. So we take it that way. Sanskrit goes back and back and back. The lexicographers use a different process. We take received knowledge. Our acharyas say this, this, and this. We accept it. Done. The lexicographers and scholars, they take an ascending process. We'll figure it out by this clue, this evidence, that evidence. So in their picture, they put together something called Proto-Indo-European, which, and so there are even dictionaries that will particularly trace things to their Proto-Indo-European roots. They've compared similar, they look at a word and they say, okay, this word is similar to this word and that word and this word, so they must have a common root, and it all comes from this Proto-Indo-European. There's a lot of politics involved with that also, having to do with the British Raj, and India can't be the origin of anything because European culture is superior. So they have that involved, and it gets to be a whole thing. So from Proto-European, Indo-European, then you get all these other languages, French and German and Latin and Greek and all of that. It all comes down from Proto-Indo-European, a language that nobody actually has ever heard. There's nothing written in Proto-Indo-European. It's all detective work and deduction. Because of this and this and this, Proto-Indo-European must have had this and this and this. And the culture of the people who spoke Proto-Indo-European must have been like this and this and this. So it's a speculative enterprise. And we just don't spend time on it. We leave it for others to mess around with that stuff. And and once you get into the lexicography community also, then we thought this, but now we think that about Proto-Indo-European. And so my godbrother, Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, he says their mantra is, the scientists, the scholars, we used to think, but now we know. He said it should be, we used to know, but now we think. But, okay. Want to add something?
So essentially, the Vedic culture is also coming from the demigods.
Vedic culture. So Vedic culture also goes back and back and back, but it does absorb things. Like we're here at Kusum Sarovar, we think of this as sort of Vedic architecture. It's largely Muslim influenced from the time of the Mughal occupation of India. It just absorbed, okay, we like this, we like this, we like this, or we can use this, we can use that. So the Vrindavan, the architecture you see in Vrindavan is very much influenced by Mughal architecture. Hindustani music, especially North Indian Hindustani music, gets influenced by, again, music coming from that side. So it absorbs stuff. And then it comes later, it absorbs, American and, pizza becomes part of ISKCON's Vedic culture. So these cultural things are like that. Sometimes things are added, sometimes things are subtracted. But our ultimate cultural values come from the Bhagavatam. Our ultimate cultural values. The ultimate culture means, finally, culture of Krishna consciousness. To cultivate our natural attraction for Krishna, natural love for Krishna. So whatever will contribute to that, we can accept. Whatever works against that, we reject. But we look to the Bhagavatam for our ultimate cultural values. And Prabhupada, yes, okay, more can be said, but maybe that's enough, unless you want to ask something further. Does that kind of do it?
Yeah, thank you. It does. I was just thinking that because the Bhagavatam is supposed to be like transcendental and beyond maybe the ages, it's not for a specific age, is it? So maybe that's why it doesn't necessarily focus on the holy name only.
The Bhagavatam is especially meant for us in Kali Yuga. What is that?
Krishna Swadamo Bhagavate.
No. Kalena Alpayusha Shadya Kalavasman Yugajana. So yes, so Ata Sadhotra Yad Saram Samudritra Sumit Samudrita, like that. Kali, everyone has a short life, so please extract the essence and speak to us about that. That was the request of the sages to Sutta Goswami. We have a short lifetime in Kali Yuga. Our minds are disturbed. The Vayanalpa Yusha Shabya, calling us Kalavasmin Yugajana. Manda, people are slow in this age. Sumanda Matayo, misled. Mandabhagya, unfortunate. And Upajuta, always disturbed. So please select and there's so many Bhuri, Bhurini, Karmani, Shrotavyani, Vibhagasha. There's so many different scriptures, so many different, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. So, Atasadhotra Yatsaram Samudrita Manisha, you're very learned. Please select the essence. Please select the essence. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is especially meant for us, although Prabhupada says in the higher planets, where Kali Yuga goes by in 5 minutes, on the higher planets they have more volumes of Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam finally means the glories of Bhagavan, Krishna. And so we have, Prabhupada said, only 12 cantos, only 60 volumes. You know? But it's particularly relevant to us in Kali Yuga.
I add a footnote.
Footnote.
Just a footnote. About script, you mentioned Devanagari, sometimes just called Nagari script. And what you see written all around North India, really, is Devanagari plus a couple of dots here and there to get the F sound and the Z sound. But what I wanted to say is that the Srila Rupa Goswami wrote, of course, in Sanskrit, but he did not write in Devanagari script. He wrote in Bengali script. And in South India, they will write in, well, they don't write Sanskrit so much in Tamil. They have this other script that they created for writing Sanskrit. But in different parts of India, they'll write Sanskrit using their local scripts. And the point here is that to write Sanskrit in Roman script is perfectly fine. There's a tradition, goes back at least to Rupa Goswami, that you write in your own script. And also, the manuscripts written in Devanagari script only go back to around the 11th century of the Common Era. Because of the nature of manuscripts, they tend to not survive very much, and they don't last very well, especially in Indian weather. So that's as far the oldest manuscripts of any text that have been found that are known in Devanagari script go back to the 11th century. That's what they tell us. That was a footnote.
Nice.
You've got a question.
Looks like it.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Lord. This question is from Tidiya. She wants to know if when anyone goes to the spiritual world, does he remember his past life and all his other lives?
When we're in the spiritual world, we are fully cognizant. We can we can remember our lives in the material world, but will not be so interested. You know, why would you? Why would you think of this material world when the experience there is so blissful? It's just so ecstatic. Imagine when you're very, very happy, you're totally absorbed in happiness, then you will not think of anything else. You just think of the moment. You're so happy right now. So that is sort of the experience in the spiritual world. Overwhelming happiness, so blissful. Why would you think back of a horrible time in the material world? Just be blissful in the spiritual world. Okay.
Next one is yours, Maharaj.
I have a question for you.
You're in queue. No, you can have a question for me, please.
Well, it's about this.
Yeah.
So the associates of Lord Chaitanya, we understand from the text which lists who's who from Gaura-Ganadesha Deepika. How conscious are those devotees as they're absorbed in Gaura-Lila? How conscious are they of Krishna-Lila and their identity? Because you were saying they are fully cognizant, so that would seem to say. And on the other side, you were saying they're so absorbed in the moment, the ecstasy of the moment. So, what's going on there?
When Lord Chaitanya performs his pastimes, then it is described in the in Murari's Kadacha, which is like the earliest account. It is said that before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Navadvip, various disciples of Madhavendra Puri appeared in Navadvip, and he mentions that there were different devotees there at the time, such as Pundarik Vijayanidhi was there was Gopinath Acharya was there, and others. And it is said that all these devotees, somehow or other, they were fully absorbed in pure devotional service. They were fully absorbed in pure love of God, but they did not recognize each other in their eternal identity. They did not. But they felt attracted to each other. They were associating with each other. So how is this? That they were fully realized and at the same time they were not recognizing each other. We take it that this is simply Yogamaya. As Krishna's pastimes have Yogamaya to facilitate the pastimes, in the same way the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are facilitated by Yogamaya. So sometimes one may remember, sometimes one may not. So not that everyone has the Gaura-Ganadesha Deepika. It's a who is who, you know? Like, it's like, okay, who are you? You know, like, okay. No. So to facilitate the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that kind of remembrance is not always there. And then this whole Gaura-Ganadesha Deepika, it's like sometimes it says, it is said, it is believed. It is not always completely sure. Sometimes, some say, right? My father is of the opinion, Sivananda saying. So it's not like, okay, here's the Goraganas Deepika, and now it's 100% sure. And it's clearly also, he gathered information from the Vaishnavas at the time about the eternal identity that the associates of Gauranga had in Krishna Lila. It was not all just revealed. But in the spiritual, fully cognizant, what does that mean? When I said in the spiritual, the fully cognizant, it means we will know what Krishna wants us to know. We will never be omniscient. Right? So when the living being, the jiva, becomes fully cognizant in the spiritual world, that doesn't mean that the jiva is like Krishna, who knows everything. The jiva will know what Krishna wants the jiva to know. No.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharajas, Dhanavad Pranam. This question has been discussed a million times in ISKCON Desire Tree or many such wonderful trees. But I'm asking one more time. So just our batteries are recharged. Maharaj, how can one go from Kanishta stage to Madhyama stage? Can you please give us some checklists, some points? So just to remind us. I'm going to a place where there is no sun for next 3 months. So I need my batteries to be charged.
He lives in Norway. From India, from South India, lives in Norway. So it's a little bit shocking to the system.
Yeah. I think Jayadvaita Maharaj was the expert.
How do you recharge your batteries? Well, first you come here, then you go back there and chant Hare Krishna. That's what we do. As Maharaj was saying, there are 5 principal methods of devotional service. They're selected because they're the especially powerful, especially effective. So there's no hidden secret. That's what we do. Chant Hare Krishna, and read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with devotees, Sadhana Krishna, worship the deity. And keep the atmosphere like the Vrindavan atmosphere. Hare Krishna.
I have a footnote.
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 It's great to have a scholar with us. You get footnotes.
Yeah, they have lots of footnotes. It's true.
Especially the German scholars. 3/4 of the page is notes. But this is just a very small footnote. We're in the Holy Dham, and there are many different types of Dham Seva. And one type of Dham Seva is Dham Smarana. So soak it all up and keep remembering being here, remembering all things you're hearing here. And that is a form of seva. You're serving the Dhamma by simply by remembering. And maybe a footnote to the footnote is you could make it a practice to read translation of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur's Vrindavan Mahimamrita, where he says anyone who would even have the thought to leave Vrindavan is totally mad, completely crazy. So that is not meant as a discouragement. You have to go back to your duties, but there's many nice things in the Sri Vrindavan Mahimamrita, which will help you feel that you're coming back and remembering the Dhamma.
Well, just a little footnote to the footnote to the footnote.
Please.
Is that, of course, that doesn't apply to the Sankirtan devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And because when they leave the Dham, right, they are going on a mission to spread Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are situated in the highest location. When you are in Oslo and dancing around in Harinam Sankirtan, like you told me yesterday that you regularly like to do that, that's most blissful. At that point, you're even closer to Krishna than you'll be here in Vrindavan. Because there you are really absorbed in being, in executing the Yuga Dharma, in being the instrument of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the mercy. So it's not that you're leaving Vrindavan and have to just live there in total separation all this time. No, an element of that may be there, but meanwhile you get a great opportunity to preach in a way that you cannot do here. Like, I'm in total separation from all my preaching. I'm missing it like anything. Sitting here, the Dham is wonderful, but still I miss the preaching. That special flavor. Harinam in Oslo. Wow.
In the dark, cold.
Snow.
We used to, in Germany, one time we were taken by the Prithu Prabhu to Switzerland to get wooden farmer shoes, fitted wooden farmer shoes, these big Dutch,
Yeah, klompen.
Klomper. They're actually called klumpers.
Klompen.
Klompen.
Yeah.
And he was getting them for all the book distributors because they're actually very warm. That's why they use them. So we got them, and then we went back to Germany, and we were in Cologne, and there's a photo of the devotees were lined up in front of the Kölner Dome, the cathedral, and we're doing kirtan, and we all have our wooden shoes on, and we're doing the Swami step in unison. Klum, 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 klum. 20 devotees in a line. So this, I'm just saying, middle of winter, preaching in the north, cold, ice cube countries. What more nectar could you?
The footnote to the footnote to the footnote. Kadamba Kanana Maharaj and I have been reading Srimad Bhagavatam every day, chapter after chapter. And in our readings the other day, we came across this, actually we've been reading Krishna book, and we came across this section which was astonishing, really, because it's in the introduction to the rasa dance. And the discussion is about how the gopis attained this intense eagerness to associate with Krishna, how some of them who were prevented from meeting Krishna just left their bodies, and so on. And in that discussion, Srila Prabhupada brings up this, introduces, Prabhupada's just essentially translating verse after verse of Bhagavatam in the Krishna book, but sometimes he adds something. So here's something that he added. In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, the Lord states that one who's engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness is very dear to him. A preacher has to face many difficulties in his struggle to preach pure Krishna consciousness. Sometimes he has to suffer bodily injuries. Sometimes he has to meet death also. All this is taken as a great austerity on behalf of Krishna. Krishna, therefore, has said that such a preacher is very, very dear to him. If Krishna's enemies, the discussion was about Shishupal, who attained perfection. If Krishna's enemies can expect salvation, simply by concentrating their minds on him, then what to speak of persons who are so dear to Krishna? The conclusion should be that the salvation of those who are engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness in the world is guaranteed in all circumstances. But such preachers never care for salvation, because factually, one who's engaged in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, has already achieved salvation. Shukadeva Goswami therefore assured King Parikshit he should always rest assured that one who's attracted by Krishna attains liberation from material bondage, because Krishna is the transcendental master of all mystic powers. So now I'm remembering the context here that Parikshit Maharaj asked, how is it that the gopis could attain perfection by remembering a paramour? If we all remember paramours, will we all attain perfection? How is it that they could think of a paramour and achieve perfection? So he's asking this for doubtful people. And Shukadeva Goswami says, I've already answered this. Shishupal was thinking of Krishna enviously, and he attained perfection because his mind was concentrated on Krishna. So what to speak of, and he wasn't thinking of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was just thinking of Krishna with enmity. So if he could attain perfection by concentrating on Krishna with enmity, then what to speak of the gopis and what they could achieve by thinking of Krishna with love. And Prabhupada takes that in the direction of those who are most dear to me are those who are preaching the message of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada speaking, of course, from his personal experience, because that's what he did. So we shouldn't doubt, we shouldn't think, well, unless I spend 10 hours a day in bhajan, I'm not going to become Krishna conscious. I won't, I'll stay kind of on the kanista level where, unless I do deep bhajan. But Prabhupada says here, if you preach Krishna consciousness, you become the most dear to Krishna. And then liberation is like a fig. You get that automatically. But you get love for Krishna. Take that back to Norway.
I don't know who gets the question, but anyway, I guess we're all answering. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. In Srila Prabhupada's purport to Bhagavad Gita 4.10, he explains a psychological condition where one hears different competing conceptions of the absolute truth and becomes cynical that there is an absolute truth because of the competition between differing conceptions. And he considers this a certain brand of krodha. So my question is that where can we find an example of this specific brand of krodha in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is displayed through one of the characters and then resolved? Because it seems that Srimad Bhagavatam has dealt with krodha in other ways, like through Durvasa Muni or Daksha and others, when Dhruva Maharaj gets angry at the Yakshas, etc. But it seems like a different type of krodha than what Srila Prabhupada here is describing in his purport. Is there any examples that you could share?
Interesting question. Good question.
It's a kind of frustration. In the third canto, we hear about frustration, anger after frustration. So in one sense, all the impersonalists fall in that category. They're all, we've had it with the material world. It's not quite anger, but Prabhupada takes it in that direction, the frustration. And that frustration results in an impersonal conception of life. That individuality is so bad, I don't want to hear about it. I just want to get rid of this identity, this individuality. It's all bad. So in that sense, the impersonalists are in that category, or can be placed in that category. That doesn't give you a specific character, it's a thought.
You bring up cynicism. Of course, the original cynics in Greece, I was just reading, they were sort of Avaduta types. Some of them were doing all kinds of embarrassing things in public. They were living on the street and sort of imitating animals in various ways. Those were the original cynics. And there's not much known about what they actually thought, because if they wrote something, it was pretty much rejected by all the others. And so what we know about the cynics is from those who were refuting the cynics. So they were polemical writings. But I can't resist to quote Oscar Wilde about cynicism. May I? He gives a definition. A cynic is one who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Someone who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. So what's kind of at issue when we're talking about understanding or conceptualizing the absolute truth is, what is ultimate value? What is ultimate value? So if the cynic is saying nothing is, well, following Oscar Wilde's definition, there's nothing that I can put a price on here. That's actually a good conclusion, because you can't put a price on the supreme, the absolute truth, who is the absolute ultimate value. Yeah, that's just a half-baked thought.
Hare Krishna. I was at the juice stand.
Yeah, we also saw.
Everyone's confessing today.
Could you do it again? Because Maharaj said some, we didn't hear it.
Start again?
Yeah, please.
I was at the juice stand the other day, and I met one man, and we engaged in a conversation. And he pointed out to me that, he was following the Gyan Yoga. So he was on the path to moksha, liberation. And he told me that bhakti is not a sure way, sure path to attain perfection. And so I was just wondering, where was he coming from? And I asked him, what Gita are you reading?
You are leaving us now? Or you're waiting for... Or you'll give us a last footnote. People are influenced by different philosophies. So, jnana yoga dealing with meditation, we can see that from other teachings about yoga, Patanjali, there's a lot of emphasis on meditation. So they bring their preconceived ideas to the Gita and then start interpreting the Gita rather than letting the Gita speak itself. It's often thought that the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is the book on yoga, but actually, if you published it already, but has a manuscript or a book about the yogas in the Bhagavad Gita, which he can share with us something, if he so desires. But the point is, yoginam api sarve sammadgate nantaratmanam. So the Gita itself is pointing at bhakti as the topmost. So he's just misinterpreting Bhagavad Gita due to the influence of other philosophies. Chaitanya Charitamrita warns that there are many crocodiles. There's a verse Krishnadas Kaviraj writes about a child that can, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can cross an ocean which is filled with the crocodiles of various dangerous speculative theories. So there's so many theories out there. People are being swayed by this or influenced, even unknowingly. That is why Bhagavad Gita as it is, and that makes it very clear that bhakti is the ultimate goal. Bhakti is the means, bhakti is the goal. It's not just a path, it is also the perfection. So it's more than a path, it is perfection. Any footnotes?
One footnote, and I'm gonna have to excuse myself. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think it's Adi Lila, chapter 14, verse 1. Katanchana smrite yasmin buskaram sukaram bhave vismrite viparitam sya Shri Chaitanya Namatam. Krishnadas Kaviraj offers obeisance to Lord Chaitanya, who, by remembering him, that which is difficult becomes easy. And by forgetting that which is easy becomes difficult. So to this issue of, which path is going to be difficult or easy or sure or not so sure, we follow Krishnadas Kaviraj, who says, I offer my respects to Lord Chaitanya, because if something is going to be difficult, he's going to make it easy. And of course, what does Lord Chaitanya specifically give us? He gives us the path of bhakti, pure bhakti. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratishena Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. So I'm going to excuse myself with apologies.
Thank you for appearing and making a very nice contribution. Yeah. Thank you. We hope to see more of you in the next period.
It's good to see you.
Pranams to Puri. Pranams to Puri.
Oh.
Yeah.
Krishna-ksetra Maharaj ki.
Aye.